It is the Europa League quarter-final, second leg time. And I am, as this comment says, I'm buzzing, I'm sweating, I'm excited and shitting it, all wrapped into one. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. This is your Lyon West Ham preview. Safe travels to all the fans that are on the way just now. Facebook and Twitter and Instagram is littered with fans traveling out there. So all the best. Stay safe as well when you are out there. I'm Anton, joined by Matt and Irish Tommy. I'll go over to you, Tommy boy. I hope you're well, mate. And just give me your kind of brief thoughts ahead of the game tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, everything in that comment there, really. Very nervous about it. Weirdly, I'm more nervous about this second leg than I was about the second leg against Sevilla.
Right.
Okay. I remember I was on with you guys before the second leg against Sevilla. I was very bullish, confident that we'd get through, predicted a 2-0 win. It's just, there's a couple of things that really dented my confidence going into the second leg. Losing Zouma was huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. And then the performance at Brentford was just horrendous. And I just worry about what West Ham team is going to turn up in Lyon tomorrow night, because if it's kind of the recent West Ham teams we've seen, I think it'd be difficult for us to go through. We've really got to turn up tomorrow. The players have got to put in the best performance they have since the second leg against Sevilla. They maybe won't quite have to be as great to get through this tie, because I do think Lyon are a limited side. I think they are there to be beaten, but I just don't know what we're going to get from West Ham tomorrow. We could be awful and go out tamely, or we could really turn up and play well and win the game 1-0 or 2-1 or something and go through. Absolutely. So it's just very, very hard to call this one.
West Ham right now, though, are very hard to call, to be honest, right now. You don't know what West Ham's going to turn up. And we'll talk about West Ham in a minute and talk about players like Antonio, because we don't know what type of player Antonio will be on his day. But I tell you what, let's go and talk Lyon. Let's go and discuss Lyon's situation before we move on to West Ham. So, straight over to you, Matt, mate. I mean, there's news coming out from the Lyon camp today. So, West Ham aren't the only one that have injury concerns. Matt, what do we know about the Lyon team going into this game?
So, the goalkeeper's out, which was much spoken about. He got subbed off at the weekend. And, if a goalkeeper gets subbed off, that's not normally anything but an injury.
Yeah.
But we were just saying, there were the rumours were Aouar and Dembele, who have both made the squad. Yeah. Whether they'll be fit enough to start, I mean, I know that the manager did speak about them both in his pre-match press conference today, and he said, we'll have to see if they join training or not. So where they are, don't know. But the interesting
on that, with these two players, what I do know is that Dembele trained today with the team. So, what I do think is that he probably will be available for selection. I don't think you'd be in the squad if you weren't, but carry on, Matt.
The interesting one, and surely it's got to be a mistake, because no one's spoken about this at all, is that Paqueta isn't in the squad, apparently.
Yeah. And let me bring this. This is the squad that Lyon have announced literally within the last half an hour for the game. And as you can see, as Matt says, Paqueta's missing from the squad. Lopez, the keeper, is also missing for the squad, which is going to be two vital players that are missing for them. I mean, they do have reasonable strength and depth. It can be, he's back in, a player we never saw in the first leg, who was vital and has been vital for Lyon this season. But, basing on the information we've just received there, Tommy, I mean, how do you weigh that up?
It's hard to know. I think it's obviously Paqueta missing is nice. That's good for us. He's probably doing a bit of a Moyes here with Dembele and being a bit coy about certain players, whether they'll make it or not. I'll expect they start. Moyes has been coy about players before. I think we did a preview of one game where I said Cresswell and Antonio would start. You remember Moyes was being very coy about whether they would play, and we were putting together our 11. And I was confident that, I think it was the Sevilla game, the second leg, I believe, and I was confident that Cresswell and Antonio were good to go, and Moyes was just playing his cards close to his chest. So we'll probably get a bit of that from Lyon as well. I think Dembele will probably play. So I'm expecting a strong Lyon side, to be honest.
So let's get on to the game then. The last time out, we played 1-1 at home. Another bit of news coming out is the fact that the referee has been changed. So we don't have the, and I'm going to go as far as saying the cheating referee, because that's ridiculous. The referee was even be able to get in charge. And by the way, just if you are watching, we will be going live to Lyon as well through this stream. Literally very shortly, we'll be going live across there as well. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of the atmosphere in and around the area. So yeah, the referee's been changed. We've got the Swiss referees coming in. He's taking charge. But Matt, going back to the game, mate, what have we learned about Lyon as such?
That they don't offer much. They were very one-dimensional. Almost everything come down our left-hand side, their right-hand side. And their only option, especially in the second half, when they took off and basically went to 3 at the back, they went 3 at the back and like a 3-4-3, is they just tried to flood the wings and put crosses in. And they only got a goal off an unfortunate piece of luck from us. I must admit, I was rather disappointed with them. Like from all the research I'd done, and from what I'd read and what I'd heard, I expected a lot more. Maybe I expected too much. It's going to be interesting because, like I said, they played 45 minutes against essentially 10 men, and were camped in our half for the majority of the time, and got a 1-1 draw thanks to what we essentially, Ariola tries to palm across, it ends up hitting Fredericks and goes in. Like, if Ariola doesn't touch it or Fredericks doesn't touch it, it goes out and goes the other side, and we may have somehow walked away with a 1-0 win. I know we should say they were the away side, but for that second half, they very much were the home side. Like, you could just see Moyes was like 2 banks of 4, rotate Antonio and bow him round, let them do some running, try and harry defenders. And they were just literally, it was essentially, barring maybe 2 or 3 counter attacks from us, it was almost one-way football. And they didn't penetrate much. We defended the middle of the pitch well, forced them wide. Well, and they were at times lacking ideas.
I felt though, Tommy, that the biggest thing I learned about Lyon was that they like to hold possession, but didn't really do anything with it. If I'm taking anything from that game in total, he likes to dominate possession as much as he could. And they pass a lot. But they pass back and they pass across. And they never really could penetrate. And I don't know if is that down to them not being able to penetrate our defence, because Zouma and Dawson at that first game were immense? What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think they are a limited team. I do think they lack a cutting edge up top. For all the possession they have, it doesn't really translate into goal scoring opportunities. They pass the ball around very neatly. They're very nice passing. They're accurate. They're sharp with their passing. Movement off the ball is quite good, and they knock it about well. They look very nice, but they just lack that cutting thrust. So I'm not overly concerned about them in attack tomorrow. I think we're entirely capable of shutting them out tomorrow. Holding them to 0. Or I would think tomorrow our worst case scenario would be we might concede 1. So it will all come down to what we can offer on the counter with the limited possession that we have. And a big thing again for us, as it often is in these games, and we saw against Sevilla, is the set pieces. If we can take advantage of whatever corners or deep free kicks that we get, and really trouble them on those, we have to take whatever chances come our way. So it's going to be tight, but they're a tidy side. But that's all. I mean, you can see, and I didn't think, like, even against 10 men, when we were almost completely defensive, I mean, I never really felt
Oh, have we lost
under
you,
at one
Tommy?
time.
Oh, we got you back.
Sorry, am I back?
Yeah, we got you back.
Apologies. I live halfway up a mountain. As good as it gets for me.
He's cycling to get his power into his Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but I never really felt under any great threat, even though at times we were camped for long periods in our own third. They didn't really seem to have any cutting thrust. They didn't really seem to have too many ideas about how they were going to break us down. It was just, like you say, knocking the ball out to one wing, back out to the center, off to the other wing, just trying to create an opening. But we were very solid defensively and well organized, as you expect from a David Moyes team. And we had everyone behind the ball. So I wasn't overly impressed with them. The one player maybe that I'd be very wary of tomorrow is Tete. I think he's the one player for them that really could open us up and do something a bit special.
He does look like he does have that. He came on off the bench. And I thought he looked lively. He looked tricky. He looked skillful. He looks like a good footballer. Obviously, didn't get through. I mean, I don't think anyone was going to get through Dawson on the first leg in particular. I know he was getting first to the ball.
He picked on Johnson. And Johnson did struggle a bit with him, it has to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's going to be a tasty tie, but I think we've done enough talking about Lyon. Unless you want to add anything, Matt, before we move on to West Ham.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. They lacked considering the creative players they've got. That was what surprised me the most. You consider they had Paqueta and Aouar, like you said, they had Tete. They had pace on the wings, but they had no delivery. You said they were fantastic to watch.
Yeah.
I even sitting there myself. I thought at some points in the game, the passing was phenomenal.
Yeah, they flattered to deceive. Yeah, they flattered to deceive.
I never, considering we played that long for 10 men and we sat so deep, I generally didn't actually expect to concede. It was kind of surprising when they scored.
Yeah, it was just that one moment. Yeah, it was just that one moment from Tete where, unfortunately, I thought the defending from Johnson was poor. He should not have allowed him to. He should have forced him back inside where all the traffic was. Instead, he let him go to the dead ball line and put it across the face of goal. Yeah. It's a lesson for Johnson.
Well, let me interject here. It's time for us to get on to the topic of West Ham. And the reason why I'm going to get to the topic of West Ham is because we've got some very, very popular West Ham fans out there in Lyon right now. So we'll go across and talk to them in a second. Let's talk West Ham. John and Martin live from France from Lyon. Twin t-shirts. We are massive. West Ham massive.
We are massive. the shirts are massive too, so everything is massive.
Excellent.
Good old long live the bowling.
Absolutely. Talk to us then, lads. I mean, yous are there. Well, what's the atmosphere like?
Well, the atmosphere is good. We were actually just listening to what you were saying. And I was going to agree with your colleague there about Johnson being a little bit limp-wristed about when Tete got round the back. But the thing is that West Ham was still early. It wasn't that early, was it? But they this thing about going around the back, that's what we can't do. We can't let them do that once. Obviously, both teams are going to play with a weakened sides. So I don't know how that's going to work, whether Moyes is going to play a back three, but we're here in Lyon and we took a route that quite a lot of people have taken, which is actually not flying at all, going by Eurostar to Paris and then walking a little way down to Gare de Lyon and getting the train down to Lyon. So we've trained it the whole way. And there were announcements. The brilliant thing was there were announcements on the train in English only saying, "Be careful, look after your belongings." You think, well, hang on, Why aren't you warning the French people? Are they actually? Is it the English people being warned about the behaviour of the French? Do you see what I mean? Very interesting, that.
Yeah.
What about the other announcements, though?
Can you tell us then? Can you tell us then? There's a lot of fans kicking about. Obviously, what's the atmosphere in and around Lyon like?
Well, it's a bit quiet at the moment, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to say, we've come straight from the railway station literally half an hour ago to the hotel, which is around the corner. We came across, there were obviously a few dozen fans on our train. And as Martin was saying, the announcement came over the intercom in English only. Will you please drink less on our train and also keep the noise down?
What did he say?
And then 15 minutes later, he had to repeat the announcement and say, look, you're drinking too much and just keep the noise down, but only in English.
Yeah. It's clearly the noise wasn't very loud in French, was it? What was the word he used? He had a brilliant bit of pronunciation when he said about keep the...
Oh, use it in his English?
Yes,
yeah.
What was the word? I can't remember the word. It's one very...
I mean, he was very polite, the trade manager.
He was very polite, you know, apart from not actually making the same announcement in French. He's like, please don't give away the fact that I'm talking to you only, you drunken thugs. I don't think those were the words he used. That wasn't drunken thugs. It was something like that. You English, you left Europe, you useless people. We don't need you. We've got our own problems here now. Actually, it's quite interesting because I'm sure we're not just caring about football, and we're sort of in the middle of France's Brexit now, which is quite exciting because we're looking at all the posters. Because we walked through Paris, so we've actually done. Well, the other thing is the way we're going back is quite funny because we couldn't get any kind of transport back from Lyon on Friday for love nor money. So we're going Lyon to Marseille, and then we're going from Marseille back. But we're flying British Airways, and we've already been told there's a strike. I mean, how many airlines?
Martin, no way.
And they're flying on a Friday. And we got the bloody Burnley game
and he's got to be at work on Sunday, otherwise there's no PA announcer.
The fourth official has just announced that the referee has not taken any gambling bets in the last 7 years. He did, however, referee the first leg of our Seville match, and you may recall he kept the play going even when our players had been fouled. So, actually, as the away side, I would say, good one. Yeah, Tommy's the only EU member on here. That's good. That's good thinking.
I didn't expect this show to turn into Newsnight, but
no, we didn't mean. No, sorry, guys, but we're not mentioning about prime ministers who should resign. We're just looking at what's going on in France. It is quite exciting because they are about to possibly put Le Pen in as president, and that would, if you think Brexit was a problem in England, you wait. The French will leave, the Italians will leave, and it will be World War III or whatever. Anyway, we're just concentrating on football, aren't we?
I was going to say, let's bring you back. We're
so excited. I cannot tell you. We've seen some footage. You may well have done too. Of the players warming up, looking a little bit shell-shocked, but Benrahma looks up for it. We're quite excited because although Diop played really well at Leicester, so coming in, I'm not quite so worried about Diop. Diop's an international player. He's French. He'll know Lyon like the back of his hand. He'll be at home here. So Lyon. I don't think Diop will have any problem with where he is. It's just a question of how he plays. Here are some lovely shots. Lovely shot of Benrahma and also Lanzini, of course. Lanzini looked really cool when he was strolling around, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. He was sort of puffing his chest out. And Antonio is due a good game. And
I think that's the thing, though. You know, I think he's been missing from goals for a while, and right now we don't know what Antonio is turning up to West Ham, because I think against Lyon in the first leg, I couldn't really say he put a foot wrong. Really, he did everything that you would want him to do as a striker, except for score a goal.
Except for the rebound from the Vlasic header that went straight at the keeper that he didn't even get a touch on. or the touch that he didn't make in the last home game when he skipped over the ball for some reason. But we're not going to do that thing that West Ham fans always seem to do on Twitter, which is moan at everything. We're in the quarter-final of a European competition. Last time that happened, I was 23, which was a few years ago.
In the middle of April, to even add that, in the middle of April, and still in contention.
Listen, after tonight, we could be our Liverpool. We could be the only British side in European competitions after tonight, apart from Leicester.
As it stands,
we're
currently the only London club in European competition right now.
There we are. That wouldn't be difficult because apart from Chelsea, who, let's face it, we're not keen to give them any praise, but I thought they played really well last night, and I actually felt slightly disappointed for them. But what the hell? They've had enough pleasure over the years. It's our turn now. Do we not think?
100%. A player I want to discuss with you all is what they're calling the winker. And the winker is Moussa Dembele. I'll put this over to you, Tommy. Tell me your opinion on Dembele, and that sending off and how much of an impact the missing Cresswell for tomorrow will be.
I don't get as bent out of shape maybe as some people. I don't really blame Dembele. I mean, we know players on the continent often will involve themselves in these kind of antics. I think it's more on the referee than Dembele. So Dembele basically is winking because they say, we've mugged this guy off again. We've been mugging him off all game, and we've mugged him off again. And he's delighted with himself because the ref was a mug and didn't control the game. And so I blame the ref more than Dembele. Dembele was trying to give his team a big advantage. Went down soft as soon as he felt the hand on his arm, fell over, gave the referee a decision to make. Stronger referee would have made a better decision, but the referee had been making awful decisions in Lyon's favour, it has to be said, and giving into their antics and encouraging them to do that kind of thing. And so to me, I don't care about Dembele's wink or him trying to con the ref. The referees shouldn't be falling for that stuff. Like the referees, let's say in the first leg out in Sevilla. Is it feedback or am I hearing feedback?
Yeah, no, I think there's probably background noise in Lyon. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's not me. Okay. I'm in the house on my own, so I bloody hope that's not in here.
There you go.
Yeah, but I thought
if we got a number we can ring.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. Yeah.
And what impact then will that have?
If you look at the referee, So I'm delighted that the referee for tomorrow is the same referee we had out in Seville, because he was really good. I was really impressed with him. Sevilla early on in that game tried those kind of antics, and he wanted nothing to do with it. The ref was very strong. He ignored it. He let them lie on the floor if they wanted to, forced them to get up a bit sheepishly and carry on with the game. And they realized after a while, okay, ref's not having any of this. And then they cut out the antics. That's what the referee should have done in the first leg against Lyon. You want to go down on the referee challenge, rolling around, stay there. It's not a head injury. You can stay there.
Of course.
If and when the ball goes out of play, then I can bring on a physio for you, but not until. Yeah. So, I'm really happy we've got this ref. And I would imagine, because he's reffing this game tomorrow night, he'll have had a look at the first leg, because he'll have wanted to get a feel for West Ham and Lyon. Now, he's refereed West Ham already, so he kind of already knows us a bit, but he'd have wanted to get a feel for Lyon and what kind of team they are and how they play and what they kind of get up to. So I'm imagining this referee has noted the antics in the first leg of Lyon, and I expect they'll get the same treatment as Sevilla did.
Great.
And that would be very good for us.
Yeah, but they're the home side. I think it is quite interesting because, of course, the moment we went down to 10 men, Lyon weren't doing that anymore because they realised they had a real chance to win the game. So it was superb to see that we hung on, and actually we done one on them. Really, they're the home side tomorrow. They'll be looking for a goal in the first quarter of an hour, and they are. I mean, there's some weird things. You heard about all the things that have gone on at their ground, like games that have been stopped and referees that have been forced to take the teams off the pitch and all this kind of stuff. Well, what the hell's that? There is I don't know if it's an ultras thing, but there's certainly Lyon have had 3 major incidents in their, let's face it, very average season, possibly their worst season for 10 years. All they've got left is this competition. And for me, the best thing that could happen is if we score in the first 5 minutes. That will absolutely light the blue touch paper, because they will not be able to do that diving, fill in the gap, that we saw from the first leg. They will absolutely be, oh shit, this is our season going down the toilet. We've got to get our act together. So early goal from Bowen, quick break. Antonio still got his fresh legs in the first 10 minutes. Wouldn't that be fantastic? There's no away goals, by the way.
But it's a great point here, though, because the game, because she's saying with no away goal, Lyon have to win the game also. So, but both teams are equal heel here, and it's going to be a wide open game. But before we move on, I'm just going to bring up David Moyes done his press conference tonight. He did it with Antonio. He gave us all an update of things we know about with regards to Zouma. So he says, we're still getting him checked fully and assessing it. So I couldn't give you an answer on a timescale, but he's not with us today. He said, it's a really big blow as a French international and a World Cup winner, but it happens in football. You get injuries along the road. And unfortunately, Kurt's got an ankle sprain. Apart from that, I'm not going to give you any other news out. But like Lyon as well, they've got some injury doubts. Maybe not. I'm sure we're the same. It's the time of the season. We'll need to wait and see how we are tomorrow. So obviously with the news, guys, that Zouma will be missing. We don't know if he'll be out longer, maybe potentially for the season. But for the game tomorrow, taking this into consideration for the game tomorrow, how much of an impact will that be on West Ham? And can Diop step into the equation? And if not Diop, David Moyes talks about Declan Rice. He makes a little hint. He says Declan's played there before and would give us a different dimension. We've got that possibility, but we know he's a big miss if we take him out of the middle of the pitch. We have to consider that. Overall, we have to use what we have. So taking all that into consideration, what do you guys think? And I'll put this one to you, Martin and John, and then I'll move around.
Do you think that Rice can't be thinking about the yellow card? He cannot be thinking about that. He's just got to play. He's just got to play. I mean, the point is, if he's pussyfooting around and we don't get through the tie, then that doesn't make any difference, does it? It would be better him get a yellow card, we get through, and he doesn't play in it would be the first leg of the semi-final, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If he got through.
Just the one game.
Yeah, and it's only one game, and it would be the home leg. Let's face it. If his performance depends on him getting a yellow card and us getting through, I'd take that every day. I'd even take him getting a red, because we've got to get through.
And what about the hint that Moyes has asked the question about Rice moving into centre-back position? Because we all know at one point in his career, he was the best centre-back at the club, even though he wasn't playing there as a centre-back. Could we see that as an option, or is he going to give the faith into Diop?
I don't. I think it's smoke and mirrors.
I agree.
We've got to remember Diop has played in this league before, and he's moved up from this league to the Premier League. So he knows the quality of what's around him in France. And, he stepped above that when he came to West Ham, and he's improved as a player since then. So, he's better than what exists in the French league. And I think we need to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. But Tommy, sorry, go on, Martin.
So I was just going to say, I would play him. The thing about Rice and Souček is Souček always plays better when he hasn't got this fear that Rice is going to go flying past his right shoulder and he's got to drop back, because Souček is an attacking midfielder, not a defensive midfielder, and his weaker games have always been when he's covering for Rice going flying up the pitch. I'd want to see Rice as centre back playing a more defensive role, giving Souček the chance to go forward. We saw him score that goal in the last 16 game at the London Stadium. He gets up. He's a great header of the ball. He's trouble at corners. And I'd want to see whatever Rice does. I'd want to see Souček in front of him. That's all I'd want to say.
Absolutely, Tommy.
I don't think there's any way we're going to see Declan Rice at centre back tomorrow. Don't know why Moyes mentioned it, just as an aside maybe, but I just don't see it happening. I think what the Zouma injury does mean is a change of formation. I think we'll play with wing-backs tomorrow and 3 centre-backs, if I'm honest. And I don't, again, like the guy said, I don't have a problem with Diop coming in. I mean, let's not forget Diop and Dawson played as the centre-back pairing in the group stage and did well, I thought. I thought they looked quite solid. Diop played some nice games, I thought, in the group stage, albeit against maybe lesser opposition, but still, you got to go out and perform. And I thought they did quite well as a partnership. Earlier in the competition, I thought they played quite well in the early rounds of the Carabao Cup as a partnership. So I don't have any particular worries about Diop, if I'm honest. Particularly as I think he'll have two other centre backs alongside him.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, I've just got one quick thing to say about the tickets. This is really important for the fans. The club have, I think they've been told by, I'm guessing, but I'm probably right here, they've been told by Lyon, all these neutral tickets have been bought by West Ham fans, and they've had, I believe the club or whoever has got that sort of central bank of people has given the money back to all the people who bought those neutral tickets, because some of that happened in the Seville game. So I'm saying that they are really going to be hot on this. So if you're thinking of going without a ticket, I would think 7 times about not doing that. I think that's going to be, the French are quite hard on that, and the club have already taken a very, very strong role about anyone coming up without tickets or anyone trying to get in with a neutral ticket. I don't know why ultimately Seville didn't seem to care. They took another 1,000. But I think that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it just, when I saw that at the bottom, when I saw that note at the bottom, while I think about it, because we heard that today, and we've heard that since we've been in Lyon, don't come to the game if you haven't got a ticket, because it'll be very disappointing for you. And I think the club are going to be really hot on that. Sorry, Tommy, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's fine. I'll come back to you, Tommy, for a second. But because we brought the what Moyes said in his press conference, after tomorrow's games, cards are wiped, but what happens in the game can carry over to the first leg. So that's what you need. Declan Rice, if he receives a yellow card tomorrow and West Ham get through, he then would be suspended for the first leg of the semi-final, but everyone else's disciplinary record goes back to neutral and starts afresh again. So tomorrow is a vital game for anyone that does carry a yellow card warning, I suppose you could say. Keith Fenn is saying, Tommy, we will play 3 at the back, so he's agreeing with you. Carry on what you were saying there.
Don't worry about the interruption. Very important information. I think the fans, really kind of need to understand how things are over there and not to waste their time trying to get in. So thanks for that. I'm sure it's appreciated by the fans over there who maybe weren't aware of that. So, I think because of Zouma's injury, I think Moyes will revert to wing backs. I think we'll see Diop as the left centre back, Dawson in the centre, and Ben Johnson as the right centre back. And I think we'll see Fornells as the left wing back, and Sofal as the right wing back. Now, he could play Masuaku, but I just can't bring myself to say it. So I'm going Fornells. I really hope he doesn't play Masuaku there. He has no business on the pitch. So I think Fornells maybe will play there as left wing back. He's played him there before. So I suspect that's what he'll do tomorrow. I think he'll be really worried because now we've lost Zouma and Ogbonna, our 2 best centre backs, by far our best pairing. As much as I love Craig Dawson, he's not Ogbonna. And I think that's what David Moyes will do. I think that the Zouma injury will scare him enough that he'll say, okay, I want extra bodies in here. I want 3 centre backs. But that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, how disappointing is it going to be not having someone like Creswell there, pinging those balls in? Do you think what Tommy said, we've got enough in that area to attack and get enough down that side, or are we really, really going to miss Creswell?
I think we're definitely going to miss Creswell, just because of his ability to cross the ball in.
Yeah.
It's always noticeable that when Creswell doesn't play, we do tend to struggle down that left-hand side. Whether he plays Fornells as a left wing back or even maybe Ben Johnson, neither of them have got a left foot. So you have to cut in. So all of a sudden, it cuts out a massive option of going on the overlap and whipping the ball in. They know that everything's either going to come down the right-hand side or it's going to be cut back in, laced to someone else still for an in-swinger. Unless we play a 5-2-3 and he tells Bowen to play on the left-hand side, which Bowen doesn't like. Even if it's a 4 at the back, Creswell has a massive input just on the attacking options we have. and it is going to be because, like Tom said, that's why who's not going to play. Like, you know, he had his chance in the 5 at the back at Tottenham, and Moyes pulled him off because it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So whether it's Fornals or Johnson, it's going to definitely be a loss in an attacking sense and a defensive sense. You know, the experienced head. He's always been a really reliable defender. He rarely makes a mistake, and like he has that ability on his left foot, so it will be a massive miss.
Yeah.
Especially, I suppose, if you add Zouma to it as well. That's like the entire left side of our back 4 is gone.
Yeah.
Me and you sat here for months, years picking teams. We would say, you know, if we're going to change anyone in the back 4, you only want to change like one player because you don't want to upset the back 4 too much.
Yeah, I also think. I also think that right-sided centre-back position will really suit Johnson's game. You know, I think he's very solid defensively. Still has a lot of work to do going forward. So I think that position could turn out to actually be his most natural and best position. Johnson is a right-sided.
I think he would like that because he done an interview with West Ham recently, and they were talking about wing backs, and he kind of was him, Sofal, and Creswell. And they were just asked to describe like what is a wing back and what made you want to be a wing back. And I think all 3 of them turned around and said, "We never were brought up. No one ever was brought up to become a wing back. No one went, I want to be a wing back." So I think they're probably more suited to that as well. Listen, I just want to address this comment from GP. Yes, that is literally right. So the only player of concern who's on a yellow card that West Ham need to worry about moving forward is Declan Rice. So yes, if Souček picks up a yellow card tomorrow and doesn't get sent off, then it is wiped. But if Souček gets a red card tomorrow, then he is banned for the first leg of the next game. That's the only way it happens. So the only player of concern taking away red cards tomorrow is Declan Rice if we get through. I don't know if I've made that clear or not, but hopefully I have.
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud. John and Martin, what's your plans for tonight then? What are you doing? You're going to have a few bevies, and what's your plans for tomorrow before the game?
Well, it's 20-11 now, and we haven't set foot outside the hotel, really. We're literally 100 yards away from the station.
But we'll watch the end of the Man City game.
Yeah, there's a game on in the bar here, the Man City game, so we'll have a look at that. It's mild enough to stroll outside just in T-shirts. It's weather's quite pleasant. Tomorrow will be the full day when we can explore a bit.
Man City are an interesting side for our season. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but if they beat Liverpool in the semi-final of the FA Cup, that kind of screws up our game against them on the 15th or whenever it is, because we can't play it then because they'll be in the FA Cup final. And then there's also the possibility of them being in the final of the Champions League. I mean, all I can tell you is that from my point of view, please Liverpool beat them in the semi-final of the FA Cup final, because I really do not want to be having a midweek game against them on the 7th or 8th of May or whenever it would be.
You've just dropped the bomb to me, because someone had mentioned to me that game could change, and I did not know it could.
Yeah.
And I was literally about to book my travel tickets for the game. Because they
Look,
released the tickets today. I've got my season ticket. I'm looking at buying another. And I was like,
I can't be at that game, so I can't have that happen. So I'm going to have to go up there and, I don't know, spike the City players' drinks or something.
Lasagna Gate.
Oh, Lasagna Gate.
It's going to be a Lasagna Gate with the. Anyway, I'd quite like Klopp to kind of stop them winning all these bloody trophies. It's just wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And I quite like Klopp, but I think City probably will win the league. I think now they've got the draw. But it's interesting, isn't it, that we are one of the sides that could stop that happening. And if you think about it, we've beaten Chelsea and Liverpool at home. Why shouldn't we beat Manchester City at home? And again, I think actually our success in the European competition will have a big influence on that, because in a way, if we're out of Europe, what have we got to lose, really? We won't be thinking about the final, the European final. We'll go right.
I tell you what, Martin, no, we won't be out of Europe, mate. We will not be out of Europe.
I'm really delighted to hear you say that, because, again, I've been around the houses several times with this West Ham side, and I don't think I know they say that we've never gone through when we've not won the first leg of a European tie, but I don't think that's relevant because I think the competitions we've played in before this one have been very different. In this Europa League, we've been absolutely superb. We have only lost that game when we put the kids out, and we managed to keep Lyon out for a half, playing with 10 men. Okay, we conceded a goal, but what a fantastic performance. Now, tomorrow, we go with 11. And 11 of our players, I got the point about Masuaku, although he's French and he knows about the French league too. I feel confident. I think we're going to win it 1-0, and I think we're going to score an early goal. And I think they are going to struggle to get a goal against us because look how they struggled at London Stadium when there were only 10 of us, and 12 of them with the referee. 12, yeah. So my personal feeling, I don't know, perhaps we'd all like to make a little prediction. I don't know if you're into predictions, but
I'm going to ask you for your prediction then before, because obviously I want you to go and enjoy your evening. It's been kind enough to come and join us, and everyone's loving it in the chat as well. So
thank you
before you score, Martin and John, I would love for you to give us your predictions for the game tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I say 1-0. John?
I go 2-1 after 90 minutes. We're going to win.
That's us through the semi-final. What dreams are made of? Goosebumps. John and Martin, you go and enjoy your evening. Go and explore a bit of Lyon. Go and have a couple of more
It's been a pleasure to chat with you guys tonight. Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
See you guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And
come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Take it easy, guys. Cheers for that. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go. Live from Lyon. We'll get back onto the topic of the show and not do a Newsnight bulletin, Tommy, as you said. I want to address a couple of comments that Moyes made on his press conference. He spoke about Diop. He said, Issa's not really let us down. He's come into the team on different occasions. There was a period when he relied on him. He's always been there or thereabouts. So hopefully if he gets that opportunity, he'll be able to take it. I'm going to jump through 3 more comments, and they are statements from Antonio. So Antonio was asked about his form. He says, since I've arrived here, I think for our club, Declan Rice is one of those standouts of this team. Also Nobes. Having all of them here, I think, is massive for us. I've been playing wing back, and from that position, I create good chances for the team. So for me, I always say the same. I want to play and try and work really hard because I want to be on. Well, that's not his statement. That is not his statement. Ignore that one. Antonio, the boss, he was asked about what Moyes is doing to the players. He said the gaffer has given us self-belief and confidence. We can go out and win against anybody. He said we can always score goals, and we're leaking too many. So once we shored up at the back, you can guarantee we're going to score goals. He's given us the confidence to go out there and give us our all to win the games. We've beaten Liverpool this season. We've given Man City a few good games, and that has given us the drive and self-belief. And then he goes on and he was asked about the Winker, and he says there's an edge anyway in the quarterfinal. The game has to end tomorrow anyway, so we know we have to go out there and win the game. Even before that, what happened last week, today was going to be edgy. Tomorrow's going to be edgy. It's literally written the way that Antonio speaks as well. That's why sometimes it's really tough to read. And I think he's quite clever in answering that question. But his form is so up and down. Matt, I'll bring this one to you, mate. Antonio's form is so up and down. We don't know what we're going to get. He's not scoring goals, but there are the odd game that he's playing and performing well. And then there's the odd game, with the Brentford game, which was a disaster really for him, wasn't it?
It wasn't just him, to be fair. I don't think anyone had a great game against Brentford. Right. I think I've sat here with you before, and I've said it's going to be strange next season if we bring in an out-and-out goal scorer, because it's not really what Moyes wants. Moyes wants a guy that's going to hold the ball up, run down the channels, harry defenders, and bring midfielders into play. So, a lot of times, like you said, he can play well and still play well. He can not score a goal, not contribute, but he still has a good game. He will hold the ball up. He makes challenges, runs defenders, and creates spaces for a Bowen to go and score. If that Antonio turns up, then it's all happy and good. But it's been a long season for Antonio. I think he may actually be on like 39 games now. I think he's played this season. And
nobody would have thought that.
Which I think before this season, the most he'd done was like 27 or 26. It's around that mark. every season since he signed, it's like 23, 21, 26, 25. It's around the early to mid-20s. He's never hit the 30 mark. And if he starts tomorrow, like we expect to be hitting the 40 mark. So
it just shows, the lack of depth that we've been desperately needing. I've done a few shows over the last couple of days, and it's really come to the head. I think everyone's known it for such a long time, but a player like Antonio, who we're actually getting the best out of in terms of game time, and we had the best out of in terms of form at the start of the season, we've never been able to give that real strong rest to, and that rest could have benefited him and West Ham more if we did have someone in there to cover that. Listen, we've got so much more to cover in this show. I want to bring the attention to you, Tommy, though, and the fact that this man is back. Lanzini is back in contention for selection tomorrow. How much we missed him?
Oh, massively. And I have a feeling that he will be key for us tomorrow. I think I picked him out as our key player for the second leg against Sevilla. And I would do the same again for tomorrow night's game. Lanzini can do things that none of the other players in our team can do. His ability to knit the play together, his vision, his touch is excellent. His passing is superb. He gets on the ball so much. He's always going looking for the ball, looking to orchestrate everything that's going on. And he works really hard. He tracks back and he does a great job for the team, work rate wise. But I just think he's so silky and he's so technically gifted. And I think he has a really good footballing brain. If there's a pass there, you would trust Lanzini to see the pass, to have the brain to see the pass and the technical ability to make the pass. So he's the kind of player that could open them up. If we need to get Lanzini on the ball in their half of the field as often as possible. And I think that will go a long way towards us getting the result that we need. I think it's huge for us. And I think this kind of game will suit him, a more technical kind of game, where the opposition aren't so physical, where it's just much more technical. And I think he'll really flourish in that kind of game. So
and I think
you're right. Potential man of the match performance from Lanzini tomorrow.
And I think you're right. And I think Lyon might not know how to deal with a player like, especially the fact that he brings such a different dynamic to West Ham. So West Ham are different when Lanzini is performing well. Yeah. So if Lyon are basing their first leg performance and thinking this is the West Ham we're going to do, well, if Lanzini is starting that game, he changes the dynamics completely. And also, he offers players like Benrahma an opportunity to be, extra creative, Fornals to be a little bit extra creative, all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah,
so...
and I'm not comparing him directly, talent-wise, but Lanzini is to us, I think, what Luka Modric is to Real Madrid.
Yeah,
he plays that role, and he's that important. He's absolutely vital. Chelsea were just running a train on Real Madrid last night, and Modric was the one Real Madrid player that was out there that you could see was just absolute quality for Real Madrid, and he turned the game on its head for Real Madrid on his own almost, and he's that good. And I know Lanzini isn't Modric, but he's our Modric, and I think he could be that important to us, and that's why we really
he's our Aldi's. He's our Aldi's and our Lidl's compared to their Waitrose.
Yes, but he's that important to us. Yeah, he's our Modric in my eyes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Now, listen, it's our time of the show where we ask you to put your predictions in for the team lineup. So put your predictions in, goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, formations, you name it. Get us your name your starting 11 in the chat. It's this time of the show where we put our predictions in. Areola, I'm no point in beating about the bush here. We know Areola is going to be the goalkeeper for the game tomorrow. Now, Tommy, you've already said you're going to a back five. Matt, what do you think in relation to that as well?
Yeah, I think you'll go to back five.
Okay.
I think his hand's sort of been... It's funny. It's weird because we've got less defenders. But I think because of it, he will make shift and go to a back five to offer more protection.
Okay, so we're going to go with Dawson through the middle, Diop on the left, and then are we putting Johnson in the right there?
I think is available, probably.
Yeah. Tommy?
Yeah, that would be my back three: Diop, Dawson, and Johnson. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. If we are then building the rest of the team, we know Creswell can't make the game, so let's take him out. Left wing back, then the choices we've really got are Masuaku, I know you don't want to mention, and where is he? Pablo out there. I mean, I'm just throwing the spanner in the works. If he doesn't choose the 5 at the back and sticks to the 4, there's nothing stopping him from putting Johnson out on the left and potentially bringing Sofal or Fredericks in on the right. So I'm just kind of throwing that spanner into the works as well. But let's build the team based upon a 5. Tommy, where are we going with the left wing back?
Left wing back for me is Fornals.
Cool.
I just trust him. His work rate is immense, and he defensively he'll really help out Diop over there. He'll put a shift in for us, and importantly as well, he can get down that left-hand wing on the counter-attack. He's always looking for us to win back possession, and as soon as we do, he's gone. He's herring down the wing, looking for that out ball down that left flank. We've seen him play there before, and I thought he did quite well. Okay, it's not a natural position for him, but I think he's versatile enough and a good enough footballer to play that position well.
Yeah.
Certainly absolutely. A lot better than Masuaku. I just, Masuaku's a disaster. Masuaku's not related to a footballer. So Fornals all day for me, I'm afraid.
What do you think, Matt?
I think we saw in the Tottenham game that if Creswell isn't behind him, the Masuaku can't even play left wing back anymore. We had that game, I think it was the Tottenham game, wasn't it? When it was Diop. Was it Diop and Creswell that side? So Diop and Masuaku, or Johnson and Masuaku. That Creswell was. I think Creswell was out that game. Masuaku was awful. So for me, the thing is, if you play Fornals there, given that we're going to have to pick a right-sided right back, then that does give you option if it's not working to just swap it around a bit and put Johnson out to left back and go to a back 4 if the back 5's not working.
Yeah.
So for flexibility in players, it works, and just for it's a damning outlook on Masuaku's defensive ability that I think all three of us and probably most of the chat are sitting here and going, I'd rather play what was essentially bought as a number 10 left wing back than Masuaku. That's where we're at now.
Just imagine Tete against Masuaku.
The thing is, though, I don't expect Tete to actually start the game tomorrow. I think he's not been starting for them, but he's definitely a fantastic option coming off the bench. Let's go on to the right hand side then. Where are we going with the right hand side?
Sofal, it's a no-brainer for me. He's back. He's match fit. I like Fredericks. I think he's done quite well. But I think Sofal is a far better player, frankly, than Fredericks.
Matt, you were going to say something there, and you're going to disagree, aren't you?
I was, yeah.
Go on then.
Because who played right back in the first game? Fredericks.
And I actually thought Fredericks had a good game.
I was about to say, I don't like Fredericks, so this is what I'm a bit throwing off my mouth saying it. Because I don't think Fredericks is a very good defender. However,
his pace gets him out of a lot of trouble.
We've sat here multiple times and said Johnson is very much a defender's defender. He's more defensive than he is attacking. And he's developed his attacking game. So if we sit there and say to Johnson, we want you to play right back, tuck inside behind Fredericks, we're going to need the counter-attack. We're going to need pace on the counter-attack. Fredericks will give us that. You don't do any attacking. Just sit back, let Fredericks attack. And then if we're playing points, we'll run to the Kosh and we're playing as a back 5. If they do what they've done in the first game, which was go wide, and they have a Cambi or Tete on the wing, Fredericks has got the pace to deal with it. Like we pointed out, didn't we, that the one thing Johnson done was that he got done on the outside. Fredericks is the only one probably out of the 3 right backs we've got that's got the pace to deal with that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I agree. I think Soufal's the better right back. I think he's the better defensive option. But based on how the two players have played recently and the way we may need to play the game, it would not surprise me in the slightest if Fredericks does start. Just chucking it out there.
And the thing, I mean, the chat's all kind of, conflicted in terms of the formation, and I'm starting, I didn't think we would go, and I don't know if we will go to a back five. Personally, I'm not sure we will, but equally though, who knows? I sit here and try and predict the teams and get it wrong most weeks. So let's go with Sofal to start with, because we've kind of got Tommy on as a guest, and let's do it that way. So then we'll have the protecting two, Deckers and Souček, potato salad and rice.
Yep.
Yes, that's
in there.
really straightforward.
Yep, absolutely. So let's go with the rest of the team, which leaves us 3 players then.
Well, Bowen is a no-brainer.
Yep, Bowen goes in there.
Lanzini's a no-brainer.
Cool.
And obviously Antonio, our only option, has to go up top.
Yeah.
So,
is this what you are predicting, Tommy, then? Yeah.
Yes, this is the lineup I'm predicting. Now, like I say, I think Sofal in a wing-back system, I do think Sofal will start, but I'm not as down on Fredericks as some people. And if Moyes decided to go with Fredericks for the pace or for his own tactical reasons, I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep over it. I'm not a big fan of Fredericks, but I don't think he's as terrible as some people like to make him out. I think he's had a decent enough season for us. I think he's been relatively solid. I don't think he's had to. I can't think of any nightmare games he's had where he's. Certainly, I've never seen him play a Masuaku game.
Yeah. No, I know. Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I think there's been a couple of. We all know what it is about Fredericks that we don't like. But equally, though, in the first leg, I think he actually had a very good game defensively and going forward. So that is a positive.
Yeah, his pace helps him. He does get caught out of position at times defensively. He's not brilliant defensively, but his pace allows him to kind of make up for his positional frailties. He tends to be able to get back at the player that he's allowed past. So, that's a saving grace for Fredericks,
Yeah. I'm just going to put in maybe a prediction of what I think may happen, to be honest. I think that he has done reasonably well in left back. Johnson has as well there. But I think, and I think I agree with some of the comments in the chat. I think the last time we played 5 at the back, and I know maybe it was certain players that didn't work out for us, but I think we went 2-0 down very quickly against Tottenham.
And you've just proved Matt's point there. You haven't brought in a single other player, and you've switched formations completely.
Yeah. Or the other player I would have potentially brought in would have been Benny, but I don't think you can drop Fornals, etc. as well. So yeah, you're right. It's the same 11, but they can switch into different formations. Matt, what do you think?
I think he'll start with the 5 at the back. I think he will, especially the first 15, 20 minutes, because especially the first 50 minutes, you've got to expect Lyon to come out like a house on fire.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say I might see slightly different is I wonder if he might go for just 2 up front. Try and pack the midfield out and just drop Lanzini.
Well, I tell you something. One of their defenders who, he's been struggling for fitness a lot this season is Boateng. And he was substituted, I think he was in the second half. And I think, every time he got the ball, they looked edgy. And every time their defence got the ball, they didn't look so competent at the back.
He's an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there could be the mindset that Moyes just switches it up completely and tries the mindset that you're going for, Matt. I mean, he's not done it a lot this season or at all, but yeah.
You don't often see Moyes try to throw a stick in the opposition spokes and do something completely unexpected to catch them out. So that would certainly be a surprise to me if Bowen started up alongside Antonio, for example. But I wouldn't be against it as a tactic, because they certainly won't be expecting it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to jump in the chat just now, but before I do, it is time to get your predictions in for the quarterfinals, second leg tomorrow evening. If you're watching, put it in the chat now and let me know your predictions for the game tomorrow. Right, so I'm going to bring up the two starting lineups that we kind of discussed there. Basically, the same players, but in different formations. So that's us starting with a back five of Fornals as the wing back, Diop, Dawson, and Ben Johnson as the right centre back. Sofal playing the right wing back, Declan Rice and Tommy Soucek in the middle, Lanzini, Bowen. Bless me, and Antonio leading the line. And then if we needed to switch into, so I could have muted that there, but I didn't. If we needed to switch into the four at the back, we could do with the same players as
You
well.
You can play four formations with that personnel.
Yeah.
You can go 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And you can obviously switch to wing backs. You can play our usual 4-2-3-1, or you can even go 4-1-4-1. So if you wanted to just leave Declan Rice as the sole sitting defensive midfielder with a back four behind, and then have four across the middle with Antonio up top. If you want to push Soucek up there, or you want to take Soucek off and chuck Benrahma in there alongside Lanzini, or put Fornals across alongside Lanzini, throw Benrahma out left with a single sub even. So it's very versatile. So Moyes has options depending on tactically on what he wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going
through
some of the comments
before you move on to the comments. 4-1-4-1 is a formation that I actually really like, and I think we really underuse it. I think there are home games, particularly against poor enough opposition, where we don't need Soucek sitting in with Rice, and where he should be more advanced, or you just drop Soucek and let Declan Rice just sit and play a flat four across the midfield with Antonio up top. I like 4-1-4-1, and I wish we used it more.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Definitely. David Downs is saying the Sofal of last season would get my vote. Toby says, really don't want to see Johnson play as centre back. I think Sofal is more solid in general. Greeno says, Frederick saved our skin on 3 occasions recently versus Everton thanks to his pace. Keith is saying,
I think Sofal could probably do a job as the right-sided centre back, but I just worry a little bit about him in the air. Yeah. I think Johnson is stronger in the air if they're going to, because they do like to get the ball out wide and try to get some crosses in if they can. I prefer Johnson in the air as a centre back. He's much stronger, I think, than Sofal. I'd worry about that.
Keith is saying I wouldn't play Soucek because he's knackered. But here's an interesting stat for you if you didn't know this. Soucek is number 2 in the Premier League for distance covered. So for anyone that doesn't know that, have a look there. 350 kilometers in the Premier League this season. So he is a workhorse, an absolute machine. I don't think he needs the rest that a lot of people deem him to do. I think it's the difference of player we see with Soucek is when we see Rice go further forward, and we've not been used to that from last season.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this as well from actual personal experience, just that you touched on Soucek there. I played a lot of soccer when I was younger, a lot of football. And when I was in my teens and right up through my 20s until I was in my early 30s, and I was just born with an engine. I could run all day. It didn't bother me. I never ran out of steam. I never got knackered. I could run for the 90 minutes. I had no problem whatsoever. I just didn't seem to run out. And I think Soucek is just one of those players who has a natural engine.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do see the fact that he maybe doesn't score as many goals as much as he has done. And maybe they kind of, I'm not digging people out for doing that, but I think there's a judgment there made. But equally though, we're firing and on the cylinders of we're challenging for the top 6. And we're now currently in the quarterfinal second leg of the Europa League come the 13th of April with such a thin squad. So I get people thinking like that, but we'll move on from it. Anyway, Tommy, quarterfinal, second leg, mate. What are your predictions for tomorrow's game?
Again, weirdly not quite as confident as I was for the Sevilla game, even though Sevilla, I think, are a far better team than Lyon, but I'm still relatively confident, albeit a little more tentatively, particularly, with Zouma out now as well. If it is Dawson and Diop as the 2 centre backs, I'm just going to be crossing my fingers all night that that they'll get the job done as a pair, as a two. I'd really rather see three in there, but look, we'll see what happens. I was not overly impressed with Lyon. I think that last week would have been a different game if we'd have had 11 players on the field for 90 minutes. We went 1-0 up against them, even with 10 men, and we were unlucky not to hold out. I think just one little kind of piece of naive defending from Johnson cost us a win. So I fully believe actually that we can go over there and do a job on them. Look, they'll have lots of possession. They'll knock the ball about. They'll look nice and tidy. They'll look very neat. They'll make us defend. They'll stretch us at times a little bit. But I think they'll just lack that cutting edge. I think we're going to be able to keep them out. And I actually think we will catch them possibly on the counter. And I do think we're going to score from a set piece as well. Corner, ball in from Fornells, big dirty header from Sir Craig Dawson, GBH. And I think we're going to be better than people think tomorrow. I know the Brentford performance kind of dented people's confidence a lot, and the Zouma injury doesn't help. But I think our players are where they are on merit, and I really think regardless of the Brentford result, after what we did against Sevilla, I think our players really, really believe that they're going to go and get a result in Lyon. I think they're confident. I think they're going to put in a much better performance than we saw at the weekend, and I think they're going to get it done. I think we're going to do them 2-0.
Go on, Tommy boy. Yes, Tommy boy. That's what I like to hear. Matt, hit me up with it, mate. Don't be making me feel like shit.
No, I was actually going to say the Paqueta news has kind of actually boosted my confidence a bit, because he was their most influential player in the first leg. He had more touches than anyone else. He is like their Lanzini, he's their dictating midfielder that gets the game going. So him missing, they won't control the ball as much.
Paqueta is 100% confirmed missing. 100% confirmed missing.
It's on the Lyon tweeted it themselves.
Yeah, he's missing through an injury, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a massive boost. I think Areola in the first presser pinpointed Paqueta and Lopez, the two guys we need to try and beat to win the game, and they're both out of the second game. So, could be, we've lost two big players, but they've lost two massive players as well. I think we'll win. I think it'll be done inside 90 minutes. I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. I'll take that now. I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to join you, Tommy, as long as we get the victory, but I am going to go 2-0. And I agree with everyone's comments as well. I'm absolutely buzzing about the result, or the game tomorrow, I should say. Howard Ailes is saying 4-1 West Ham. Daniela Stewart is saying 2-0. Vinay's saying...
West Ham. It should be 1-4, but okay. We'll take
I know
it as
that's
West
true.
Ham.
Vinay said 2-0 West Ham, 2 extra time goals, Ben and Yarm. I don't think I could handle extra time.
Oh,
I really
we don't want extra time, yeah.
No, Steve Bell's saying 1-0 West Ham, and he was saying 1-0 Antonio West Ham, 2-1 to West Ham after extra time from Toby. Penalties win from Anthony Jones, Ronda and Tony Tanti, 3-0 to West Ham. Too much pressure on Antonio. He'll start scoring next season when the new striker comes in. I've got to go Zini and Bowen goals. Not sure how it will go to Pence. If it does, then we'll win. And I'm so confident Raiola between the sticks and our penalty takers. 2-0 Suchek, Bowen. 3-0 West Ham. Angry players. Oh my God, there's so many comments. I'm just trying to... Soccer. They're slagging you off, Tommy. Soccer. Who said soccer? Who said... James Bond, 1-0 West Ham with 119th minute so far. 60 yards spectacular. Like a true Irish racehorse, Tommy.
Yeah, lots of
Irish thoroughbreds. Adam Wilshire saying 2-1 West Ham. What
it was far more likely to be some kind of freak mutation rather than any good breeding, I'm afraid.
Happy Amaret says Lyon didn't see us at our best.
But that's the thing, we're better than them. Yeah. That's why I'm confident. We're a better team than Lyon. I'm convinced of that. And you know that our players are going to be desperate to get through this tie. I mean, they're thinking and dreaming of Barcelona in a semi-final. Our players are going to be really up for this. They want Barcelona. You just know they do, and I think they'll get it done. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. This one's for you, mate. It's been sitting on the screen for a while. Come on, Matt, smile. There you go. That's what we want to see. I can forgive the Brentford performance if we win this game tomorrow. I think we all can. Happy Amrit says, Stato, give us a wave. Stato, give us a wave.
They can't be tired. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything in that Brentford game. So it looks like we're tired. We barely run in the first place.
Yep, absolutely. Listen, if you are new around here, please make sure you do go and hit the subscribe button. We're on the march to 20,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification thing. That will notify you when we do shows. 2 shows have been out today. Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com. There's Tommy there trying to fit in the screen. And also the West Ham Daily, where we discussed Zouma potentially out for the season as well. Tomorrow we will be back with another West Ham Daily, another West Ham Hammers Headlines, and Russ is bringing to you the Matchday Live. So if anyone's kicking about, wants to join Russ, we'll get that hooked up and get that sorted. But Russ is going to be heading up the Matchday Live tomorrow for the game. And wherever you're watching it in the world, just scream loud and proud for this game tomorrow.
Yep.
Final words, Tommy?
Final words. Lyon were a disgrace last week, and I don't think this ref's going to put up with it, and I think our players did not appreciate that, especially the Dembele wink. And I'm sure Moyes will be reminding them as well.
Yeah.
The way they carried on and, smug bastards that they were after getting Chris sent off. So, I think our boys are ready for this, and we're going to turn these lads over. I'm confident we're going to get it done tomorrow.
Love that, Tommy. Matt, we're looking for a wave. Everyone wants a wave from you, please. There you go. What is that? Was that like the royal wave or something? I don't know what that was, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Helen Ludders is saying, heard that Lyon hadn't sold out. Did we sell all of our allocation? We absolutely probably could have sold the stadium out 3 times over. But the issue is that people need to understand as well is, and I had the problem myself, is if you receive a ticket and your name's not on the ticket, if you're in the home end, and then you go and collect your ticket and you can't provide photographic ID, you're getting nowhere near that stadium at all. Nowhere near that stadium. Then West Ham fans decided to purchase tickets in the home end, and there's about 1,000 that have been cancelled as well.
Yeah.
So,
that was going to mention, I've seen that all over Twitter. People getting official emails. Basically, if you lived in England and you bought a ticket in the home end or the neutral end, Lyon have just refunded the money and gone, nope, you're not getting it.
Yeah.
And they've only done that in the last day or so. They've waited right until the game's about to start and then gone, no, you can't have a ticket now. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of West Ham fans in Lyon tomorrow that won't be going in the stadium. They'll be hitting up the streets and the bars instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, like I said, stay safe. Tommy, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Matt, stay safe. Enjoy the game tomorrow. And for everyone that's watching, come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree, all of you.